I want to thank you all for inviting me. I want to say also I really found that last panel very interesting about the doping topic one doesn't hear about a lot. You know, my firm, we have 7 lawyers in Beverly Hills, and we're basically a plaintiff's law firm representing artists, production companies, actors, things like that. And we have a substantial practice in defamation and invasion of privacy. We are facing tremendous problems in our culture in America and law today because of the internet. And yesteryear, when somebody was defamed, I went to the library, you had to go look it up. It was thrown in the trash for everybody else. I did a case here about 10 years ago in federal district court in which I sued the ABC television network with the show Primetime Live over totally garbage hidden camera show they did. And we ended up basically losing because the court said it wasn't technically a defamation. Although they lost the evidence in the case, the defendants, ABC News. I've sued ABC News 7 times for defamation of hidden cameras. I won one case that went to the California Supreme Court that studied in every law school in America. It's in 3 case books called Sandra. But the bottom line is that my client, who I saw here yesterday, said, you know, every time you Google my name and your name, it comes up pages on this particular case, and I never got to tell my story. And that's the effect of the internet right now. What's the problem when there is a defamation that's occurring? If you write the New York Times and you say take it down, they got to take it down if they haven't sourced it properly or done it right. If there's a violation of copyright, you can write to eBay and say take it off or I'm going to sue you. That's not how it works for defamation in America because of the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, which says they're totally immune, completely immune from any liability. And as a result, they don't care. And so I'm representing, for example, lawyers who for 5 years have been the victims of terrible things that have been said about them. And who are the perpetrators of these things? I call them internet terrorists. They're just out to cause pain and destruction, and they don't care whatsoever. I just got a $1 million judgment against some guy, and I can't even find him. So I'm telling all of you law students, this is a problem that you need to know about, lobby about, think about, because it's going to hit somebody in your practice or family or whatever, and some legislator in Congress or the Senate is going to get upset one of these days and is going to do something about it. What can you do about it right now? Because they're impervious to sue. Well, you can sue them as we have, and then you can get an order to try and take it down, but I'm going to run through some of these cases. There's a guy who runs something called the Ripoff Report, and hey, I'm all for the First Amendment and freedom of the press, and this guy who runs the Ripoff Report, as I understand, lives in Arizona. He could care less about whether it's truthful or not, and I know of examples in which he says, too bad, I'm not doing anything about it. Not only that, I mean, the case is called, to show you how outrageous it is right now, it's Blagowitz v. Williams in the 7th Circuit, 2010 case. He got an injunction showing this is defamatory, and he tried to enforce it in another court, and the Ripoff Report fought it and said, no, I'm not taking it down, Section 230, and the Ripoff Report won. So things that are clearly defamatory are up on the net, and it applies also to invasions of privacy and things like that. Or when there's a case of some women who were exploited. Teenage girls were sexually assaulted by an attacker they met on MySpace. Claims are barred by Section 230. MySpace walks. That's a 2009 California Court of Appeal case. What can you do? What do we do? Well, we have our friends in Europe, and the Communications Decency Act doesn't apply there, so we go after them, we sue them in Europe, or threaten them in Europe, and if they don't take it down, there's going to be substantial damages. So to the extent that Google and other operators are there, then they can be liable, and we've had some help with that, but they can pop up again because the internet is ubiquitous and servers are everywhere, and so it's a little bit like playing whack-a-mole, but you can at least get some help. You can get some help there. You know, what I want to see happen is that this becomes, much like the doping situation, something that people are talking about now. and doing something about. Let me make a few other points. If you're going to get into defamation, I don't know if they've got SLAPP law in Arizona, I haven't looked at it in a long time, but they've got SLAPP laws, strategic lawsuits against public participation in many jurisdictions. So when we're suing, we like to sue in a jurisdiction that doesn't have a SLAPP statute, as California does, which is very heavy, because if you lose and you're the plaintiff, you get hit with all the attorney's fees. So the things that are happening on the internet with respect to defamation are also happening with respect to invasions of privacy, and you've got to be very mindful of those things as well. I'll just say one other thing, and we're going to get into this now, about the right of publicity. We also do a lot, and I know you students, when you get out to real practice, will encounter these situations. We have probably had 8 cases in the last couple of years of people whose photographs are used in violating their rights of publicity. In other words, models who go in and get headshots and suddenly end up in advertisements. That can be very lucrative for the lawyer and the client if they do it right. And don't turn them away when they happen, particularly if it's a big advertisement. And you wouldn't believe what these ad agencies and other unscrupulous operators will do and think they can get away with it. And a lot of times they do get away with it. So with that, I'll just, because I know we got a lot more to talk about, I'll just leave it at that and look forward to participating further.